Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here's information about filling out your essay outline and getting started on writing your essay, outlining your ideas, everything like that. So I'm looking from the personal pledge page, the Canvas assignment, and I have two documents in here that I think would be helpful to you. The first one is, well, the thesis we wrote yesterday and the directions you should have already read. So the thesis you should have and the directions you should know. The essay structure, I think, would help you, the outline, and then the MLA format template. So if I were you, I might use the format template, which is here. It shows you MLA format, which is your name. Delete that and actually write your first and last name. My name, leave, the class, leave, the date, leave. Where it says your title, change this when you have an actual title that's specific to your pledge, and don't say personal pledge, because then I would have 117 of those. And then where it says your last name, you double click and actually type your last name there and capitalize it and make sure there's one space between the name and this number. So double click out. So I'm going to pull up, these are the outline notes, and paste them where it says the body of your essay goes here. So this should already be an MLA format for you, where it's Times New Roman, size 12. If you want to double check that, Times New Roman, size 12. I'm double spaced. Some people like to single space it until you are done and then double space it. So that's up to you, but before you submit it, it needs to be double spaced. Alright. So first, format your paper in MLA format. We already have that, so I'm going to delete that bullet point. Then the first paragraph you should have is your introduction, a minimum of 5 sentences. It needs a hook, about 3 sentences of tie-in, and then a thesis. You should already have your thesis. So if you would like to copy and paste your thesis here, it's something like my 3 most important goals are to get into shape, pass 9th grade, and go to CTC. I want to achieve. Okay, so just copy and paste the thesis right there. If you want to go up to tie-in, then it says the sentences, at least 3 that tie in the general information about your topic based on your hook, leading to the specifics you will introduce in your thesis and subsequent body paragraphs. So if you remember, this intro is like an upside down triangle. It starts broad with your hook, which could be about goals in general or making decisions about your life. The tie-in starts to get more specific, and then the thesis is the most specific, which talks about your 3 goals, what they are specifically. Or you could start with the hook, gets your reader interested in reading your paper. It can be a funny statement, question, quote, story, broad statement. Okay, so it should be broad. So let's say your hook is something like, at certain points in the year and in our lives, we as a society pause to reflect on where we came from and where we are going. Okay, so that's just a general statement. At certain points in the year and in our lives, we as a society pause to reflect on where we came from and where we're going. You can write whatever you want, but just for an example, That could be a hook. So that's very broad, pausing to reflect on where we came from and where we are going. So then next would be the tie-in. So then I could say something like, Alright, so I paused real quick and wrote some tie-in. So if you remember the hook that I came up with at certain points in the year and in our lives, we as a society pause to reflect on where we came from and where we are going. Then the tie-in I just wrote. The path you're currently going in does not always have to be your only path, so it can be good to pause and reflect on your choices. As I continue my 9th grade year, I have paused to reflect my choices that affected my life up to this point. Do you see how I'm getting more specific? So I started with like reflecting on your life, and then I went to reflecting affects your choices, and then I went to 9th grade year reflecting, so I'm chiseling down the topics to be more and more about just what I'm going to do, and me talking as if I were a student. So then here, in doing so, I've realized that there are some choices I make out of habit that are not necessarily choices I want to be making. For the rest of this year and beyond, I'm pledging goals to myself to be more considerate about my choices in life. So that is a 1, 2, 3, 4 sentence tie-in. I'm getting more specific. Introducing the rest of the paper, and then I end with the thesis, which is the most specific sentence. My 3 most important goals I want to achieve are to get into shape, pass 9th grade, and go to CTC. So whatever yours are. Alright, so that would be if you're working from the outline perspective, but now this is really my introduction. So if you're using the outline method, you can delete all the bullet points and all the labels and turn it into one paragraph. It should be indented, and when you're ready to submit, it should also be double spaced, 2.0 spacing. Alright, so that is a fine introduction. If you're good there, you can look down to the body paragraphs, so do the same deal. Start each one with a topic sentence, include support. I included an example here of how to quote from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, which I want you to do for at least one of your goals. So according to Sean Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, and then find a quote you like, and you can just replace this quote I have with whatever quote you choose. Or you don't have to quote, you could paraphrase, but I still want you to say, according to Sean Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, and include the page number, so just delete that 9 and write your page number. And then I already made a works cited for you, see down here on the next page. So you don't have to make your own, since we're all using the same book, but I do want you to get into the habit of having a works cited. And when you are ready to submit this, make sure that the works cited that I made for you, you don't need to edit it at all. This I think has to be italicized. You don't have to edit it, but the title here, works cited, should be at the very top of the last page. The title should be centered. So like if this were my finished essay, it's obviously not. But if it was one page, then on the top of my second page. But if this had gone on to the second page, then I would enter this down to the 3rd page and so forth. So it needs to be on the last page. Alright, so continue working on your paper, formatting it for you. If you forget Emily format or what these outlines mean or something, let me know and I will help you. Otherwise, good luck.